Today, really sorry for little confusion as the technology challenge was there. Welcome to this exclusive Boardroom Talk interactions with eminent board leaders from Indian corporate world and even the global leaders of, who are movers and shakers of the corporate governance. Today, India is the sweet spot for the world to look for the businesses and investment opportunities. And when really India is eyeing towards becoming a $5 trillion or $10 trillion economy, that's where the thought leaders of corporate India are going to be making the great impact. And here, Mentor My Board is nurturing and helping them be better leaders as far as the boardrooms are concerned. Now, we have Women Directors Conclave, which is happening on 15th of December, where corporates, women, and men, everyone will be together uh, to shape the corporate governance with the diversity and inclusion. Mentor My Board today has network of more than 2,100 plus board leaders and senior leaders from corporate India. Now, welcome to this 58th Boardroom Talk and 13th in this season with Dr. Anuraag Guglaani, who is having vast experience of working with family business boards at the global markets. And his rich experience, let me tell you, when I was interacting with him, when I was going through his profile, such an illustrious profile, and his deep work which he has been doing. His journey has started with the graduation from the prestigious National Defense Academy, wherein he had the intensive armed forces officers training as aspirational fighter jet pilot. His electronics engineer graduate, MBA marketing and finance, and he's also has got the fellowship of Chartered Institute of Management and Leadership. Now, when I was kind of going through his profile, I saw he has such a huge experience where he is working in the global and matured market, especially in the matured family businesses. And when before we start, because when we go through the entire conversation today, I'm sure we will have his deeper understanding, his deeper knowledge, his deeper expertise, what he has built over so many years, especially into the matured markets. So I welcome to Dr. Anuraag to this Boardroom Talk series, and I'm sure people will watch this interactions, and they will take lots and lots of takeaways from this interaction. So I welcome to all the viewers who are joining, who will be joining in, and who will be watching in. So welcome, Dr. Anuraag, and really apologies for little glitches as far as the technology is concerned. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Divya, for the over generous introduction. Good morning, everyone, and Assalamu alaikum to all of those joining from the Gulf.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, Doctor, you started your journey with training as a fighter jet pilot at the NDA. Now, can you share your brief journey from there to your influencing to your approach to the business leadership and problem solving? Can you little bit help us with your broad journey? The man behind the vision, what you have been doing.
So, everyone has a childhood passion. So, my childhood passion was to fly at supersonic speed and be in control of those machines which make that happen. And everyone has an idol. My idol was Tom Cruise from the movie Top Gun, wearing aviator sunglasses, flying overalls. And that idol took me to work very hard, prepare very hard to get selected into one of the toughest academies in the world to get into, which is the National Defense Academy at the age of 17. Right. So 3 years of that rigorous armed forces training and 1 year of specialized training is basically preparing somebody to be ready to take command of men and material at in adverse terrains at the young age of 21, and rather leading from the front or leading as an example. So what is typically being instilled in you in an academy like this are what we in our lingo used to call it as officer like qualities, to carve out a fine gentleman out of you, and leadership qualities to be able to motivate your team in bringing the best out of them beyond their understanding and their own capabilities, and inspiring them to be able to give up what's most precious to any human being, which is their lives if required. So I think the training at the academy has had a very, very profound impact because at that very young age, phrases like tough times don't last, tough people do, never say die, nothing is impossible. All these are completely implanted into one's brain. And that's what is built. That builds your core. That builds your foundation. So principally, the ability to say analyze, strategize, or take calculated risks while maintaining what do we call the sense of duty, responsibility, and physical and mental resilience, coupled with lots of passion and energy, is what it's always been about. Now, for me, because being an Air Force cadet, I not only acquired the technical skills but also learned the essence of discipline, teamwork, adaptability, and quick decision making. And all these skills have proven invaluable in the business world. So, in short, focusing on mission accomplishment, emphasis on continuous improvement, and the ability to lead under pressure have undoubtedly influenced my leadership style and helping me create a highly result driven and resilient organization culture wherever I've been involved.
Wow, that's amazing. That's wonderful. So,
Yeah.
definitely, I mean, when I see the passion, with what you're doing has the roots from your experience into the defense. Now, your academic background is quite diverse. How do you integrate your knowledge in electronics engineering, MBA, marketing, finance, and your PhD in your family business disruption as a role when you're, acting as business doctor?
So, I missed the fun of going to a regular college, because those years of college, I was actually getting ragged and rogered and going through the physical and mental torture too for the profession which I chose. But somewhere inside me, there always was an ambition to study more and, have that academic journey. And my academic journey has been actually very organic in nature. It has been completely need based, and I call it from books to boardroom, because these qualifications were acquired one after the other over a period of time to support my professional journey, not for a degree, but with the intent to fill the gaps in my knowledge. So, like I was saying, the technical education had already given me a touch of problem solving, analytical thinking, and innovation from being an Air Force cadet. However, when I decided to move from military, transition from military to the business world, it was very clear to me. One thing was clear, that, like in the military, the top generals are generally the ones who are from the fighting arms and not the ones who are from support services, right? So, if I had to fly on ground, I also had to be in that sphere, which is the sphere of action. And in an organization or in businesses, those spheres are either where you generate revenue or you manage it effectively. And so, principally, it is the sales or marketing function where you are generating revenue, or the finance functions where you are managing it. And so, I decided to acquire first an MBA in marketing and finance specialization from Symbiosis, which is a pretty good business school. And that broadened my perspective on business operations, market strategy, financial management, and fortunately, straight away landed me into positions for managing, P&L for organization.
Mm-hmm.
Now, subsequently, given my skills, qualification, and the results which I was able to deliver, I was fortunate to get top leadership positions across some of the most prominent large family business groups in the region while reporting into the board. Right. So those were the days when I was reporting into the board
Wow.
and managing their expectations. And I also, like you mentioned, acquired a fellowship in Chartered Institute of Management and Leadership just to redefine my abilities in line with the current trend. I'm a very, very strong believer of constantly unlearning and reskilling.
Wow.
Now, since all throughout I was involved with family businesses, I got extensively involved in their understanding and ensuring their sustenance and succession. And this led me to get my doctorate in family business disruption. Right now you see, again, it is because it's a natural organic progression, because idea was that in whatever field I am, I should be able to deliver to the maximum. So it has to be a
Absolutely.
blend of academic knowledge uh, and that experience, right? So now, subsequently, yes, so I have been involved in about 40 industries, 28 countries, managing up to $1 billion of turnover, about 5,000 team sizes. And all this time, since I knew how family businesses work, I also understood their challenges and the need the family businesses and SMEs have. And subsequently, I got into consulting, where eventually I become a business doctor, solving all these kind of problems pertaining to how family businesses can move from people driven to process driven entities, right? So yeah, that's pretty much how books to boardroom happened.
Amazing. I think it's always said that, a lot of times I've heard that, okay, I'm an engineer. Can I land in boardrooms? Am I, I am not a chartered accountant, I am not a company secretary, I don't understand legal compliance, can I be part of the boardroom? But I think what you very importantly mentioned is acquiring right skill sets to be at the right place is very very important, and continuously learning, unlearning and relearning is very very important in life, in reaching to the milestones what you really want to. And with your illustrious kind of experience, I'm sure you have been immensely contributing to the governance and the leadership domain at the family businesses. Now when we really talk of the corporate governance, because I think that's the core foundation on which Mentor My Board also exists, as a part of your role as managing partner at Wazir Advisors, how have you been seeing corporate governance on the global landscape, family business governance, and what is the global governance language, if you can speak about that?
So before I do that, I will touch on one or two more things which are important, because
Yeah.
you see, not everything is as rosy as it sounds. So at my stage, and why it becomes important from coming to boardroom. So at a stage in my career when I was upgraded from managing about 1,000 people in 4 companies to about 3,000 people in 10 businesses, I very quickly realized that I started to fail. And that's important to point here, because I because of my hands-on approach to certain extent, and I would call to certain extent also micromanagement, right, which was not very well appreciated by the leaders who were reporting into me, because they considered it as an intrusion into their space and authority, right. And I'm saying that is because this realization was very important for me at that stage, because subsequently when I go into a boardroom has to be a strong enabler to the CEO rather than being only governance. So at that stage, when I realized that I could fail if I do not change my style of operation, I enrolled in an executive MBA from one of the world's top institutes, which is IMD in Lausanne, Switzerland, in a course which costed me $150,000. And people were laughing and saying, at this stage of career, why would you have to spend that kind of money on yourself? Because you don't need any further qualification to reach. And I said, it's not about the qualification. If I do not upgrade myself now, I don't know whether I'll be able to maintain my performance levels. So this was a very unique program where you go, you learn for 3 months, and you come back and apply into your organization. So it's a dual program of transforming you, and you in turn transforming your organization, right?
Amazing.
So uh, now coming from that, why I gave that background was because, like I said, at the board level, we have to become an enablers for the CEO.
Right.
So in corporate governance world now, which we are talking about, right, at the board level, there is something which I talk about is the diversity, because in staying in a country like United Arab Emirates, where there are 200 nationalities who live here, a country which is fairly young, right. So one of the things which I very extensively get involved is creating diversity at board level, right. So
Mm-hmm.
many people may not like it, but when I advocate in boards is that gray-haired men should not comprise more than 40% of the board seats, and balance 60% should be equally divided between 30% women and 30% youth,
Wow.
so that it can bring a richer diversity of perspectives and a culture of creativity and inclusivity within the organizations. Now, with that, having said that as a base, because on a global level this becomes extremely important. Uh, I think corporate governance has to add value to business. You see, in a lot of organizations, internal audit today is has been more transformed as business excellence, right? Because it should to maintain its relevance. So, it's a profitable and growing organization can be taken on the path of sustainability with the right governance structure. It's easier to do that.
True.
Eh? So, my aspect very strongly in the governance, corporate governance, is very heavy on something called technology governance, because that expertise does not sit too much at board level, because it's a fairly new challenge. Today, technology risk is classified as the highest business risk. It is not talked about much, even though there are companies who are paying ransoms in millions of dollars, small businesses, big businesses, but they don't like to talk about that because it is your social image which can get destroyed if this thing comes out into the public, right? So, managing the technology risk at at board level, as a corporate governance, technology governance is for me a very, very high on my agenda.
Right.
Sorry. Yeah.
Right. So I think when we talk of technology governance, very very important point what you mentioned on, and I think I have also been observing so many very closely, and I really feel this is a time where entire world is going through a major disruption, and at this time that major disruption is happening with the technology. Now whether it is a positive way, negative way, it's impacting the boardrooms is something where thought leaders, the board leaders, have to be very, very vigilant when they are sitting in the boardrooms. Very well, rightly covered point. Now, let me come to the your board memberships, your board journey. Now, being on the boards of multiple large family business groups, how do you balance the diverse, intense interest of the organization? What role does the strategic planning play in your board responsibilities? So how do you kind of ensure that your board responsibilities are from the strategic point of view? And I think you very well also already covered a point where you about the micromanagement and the strategic role. So how do you balance that? Can you throw some lights on that?
See, in my style, the first thing is that you can only add value if you have enough expertise and knowledge. Now, you are bringing an expertise and knowledge from outside, but I think the important aspect also is to be able to first do a deep dive within that organization, and that's what I do. I talk to as many people in the organization as possible. I try and get a lot of information inside. I do my market study and understanding of competition in order to understand what is happening outside. I like to do a little bit of research on future trends and things, because if the I as a board member have to add value, my knowledge is extremely important. And I'm not talking only about experience and knowledge gained from this. In continuation of what I was talking about in terms of academic knowledge, just because I talked about technology risk, I can tell you that because I saw that as such a major threat, I went in and acquired three qualifications. I am a certified information security manager today. I am certified in governance of enterprise IT. I am a certified data privacy solutions engineer. Uh,
Oh,
because if I don't understand that, I cannot guide it right. And subsequently, I also acquired my doctorate in intelligent automation, because I stay in a country where we have, unique in the world, we have a Ministry of Artificial Intelligence and a Minister of Artificial Intelligence who today chairs the Artificial AI Governance Forum. We are sitting in a country which aims to be a superpower of AI by 2030. We are sitting in a country where in rest of the world they are still debating on crypto and Bitcoin. We already have a virtual assets regulatory authority where everything in the digital space is already under a governance structure.
right.
I'm trying to mix the global as well as this, for a simple reason that when you are in markets like that,
Yeah.
and if you do not understand the regulation, you do not understand term, then there is very little you can add as value. So
Right.
coming back to this, if we have to add value, there is, I think, a lot of, at the board member, with all the experience that we have come in, we have to constantly upgrade ourselves so that we can become the backbone for the C suite, in helping them develop an effective strategy which helps foster growth, profitability, and sustenance.
Amazing, amazing. I think I am really amazed the way you have been upgrading and learning, in your journey of boardrooms and leadership. Wonderful. So, also, my takeaway is about the 40-30-30 rule, what you mentioned of the boardrooms. I think that is something with a lot of Indian boardrooms, whether they are matured boardrooms or whether they are SMEs and MSMEs or even startup boardrooms, they all definitely take this one key takeaway from your interactions today. Now when we talk of philanthropy uh, and your involvement in humanitarian efforts is it's really notable. So how do you balance your business responsibilities with your commitment to the social causes? I mean, you mentioned about your really focused approach towards women and youth. So what impact you have to achieve through this philanthropy work, and can you speak about that little?
See, I have always been a strong believer that businesses should make good profits, and use part of that money for playing a transformative role in addressing social issues. Because you can't be an NGO going around asking for money and doing it, because businesses have the capability. But if businesses continue to struggle with their own issues, and they are not able to make money, then this is also, that's why I ensure and work strongly around businesses in helping them make better money, expand, go geographically, and use that for. So I am a very strong advocate on two aspects, which is women and youth empowerment and entrepreneurship development, and I have exercised this in about 20 countries. And I have been privileged to be awarded by US President Joe Biden with the President's Lifetime Achievement Award and the President's Volunteer Service Medal, as well as Global Humanitarian Award from the Mandela Foundation,
Wow.
specifically on these two areas of women and youth empowerment. And this is the core, because wherever, see, the sitting in a geography like UAE gives you access to about 2 billion population in South Asia, Middle East, and Africa, right up till Turkey. So between India to Turkey is the domain that you can capture from here, and you can make a huge impact. And so, a commitment to social responsibility has been a core aspect of my leadership philosophy, and which I guess also comes from military training, because it fosters a strong sense of duty not only to the organization but also to the broader community.
Super, super. Absolutely amazed. The way you have been contributing to the not-for-profit businesses, the businesses to focus on the bigger social impact. Amazing. Now, when we talk of you already spoke about your recognition in various sectors. You have been honored by different professional bodies, including Institute of Chartered Accountants and Institute of Internal Auditors. Now, how do you see the interaction of technology, governance, entrepreneurship in today's business landscape overall? So, you've touched based on a lot of these areas, but I still would like to, kind of have your understanding on the entrepreneurship, because when we're really talking of the
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, it's sometimes the one man show doing lot of things. Though technology is the enabler, but people miss out on their focus on governance. So, how do you, or what would be, in fact, I can reframe the question is, what would be your three key takeaways, or the guiding notes for the entrepreneurs today?
So you see, technology is a driving force for innovation, right? Nobody can escape that. Governance ensures ethical and responsible practices, and entrepreneurship fuels economic growth. So they all go hand in hand. It's a synergy of these elements which creates a dynamic and evolving business environment, but which at the same time requires and demands agility, adaptability, and a commitment to ethical standards. Why I'm touching on the ethical standards? Because AI. Recently, President Joe Biden had called for a meeting with all the top CEOs of Microsoft, Google, and whatever you name it
Yeah.
on ethics of AI. Recent, just about last week, or I think about 2 weeks back in UK, there was a major AI governance event, by the British Prime Minister, which was held. Elon Musk was there. Everyone is talking about AI governance. We had an AI conference in Dubai a couple of months back, and what were we talking about in there? You'll be surprised. We were talking about the rights of machines, the possibility of human mistreatment of machines, because generative AI and the AI of the future is going to learn much faster through machine learning and become smarter. So
Yeah.
these are the right things which have to be talked at boardroom today. So I have been recognized for bringing intelligent automation in the finance function of private sector, and which is why the Chartered Accountant Association part came in, and technology governance in the internal audit functions of private sector. So now, and this is about technology and governance, but at the same time, when it comes to entrepreneurship, because I am a strong believer that when you, after graduation, after studies, when you take up a job, you can create only one job for yourself, but if you become an entrepreneur, you are creating jobs for many,
Yeah.
right? So it's taking. So I am a strong believer that exposure to entrepreneurship should be given at school level, not at college or after college, because at school level, at least an exposure, the students can decide and choose what is the right field for further studies, rather than realizing it later after 2 years of doing engineering or accountancy or whatever it is, that did I really do what I wanted to. You know, by the way, I'm also a co-founder of two very successful tech startups, and I play a very active role as an investor and mentor for startups in monetizing their business model and securing funding.
Hmm.
Because I think a lot of, we have a very high failure rate. About 95% of startups fail, and they
True.
fail only because they have the idea, but they need a strong support in terms of managing businesses, because that's a very different ballgame altogether, and that's where the
Absolutely, I
entrepreneurial
agree.
skills come in. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I completely agree with you. And today, I mean, when even I look at the startup ecosystem today, the startup governance is, also a big kind of a challenge which has been now coming up. And even during the G20 initiatives of India, wherein startup initiatives, startup 20 initiatives, the startup governance framework is also introduced by, the government in India today. So definitely there is a lot of kind of gap and need, wherein lot of support to those startups will be required going forward also. So thank you so much for these kind of insights coming out from you. And I'm sure the way you have been impacting with your wonderful work to the corporates, whether it is family business, whether it is the startup ecosystem, whether it is as investors, whether it is as mentor, it really is going to create bigger impact over the period. Now we are coming to the closure of the interactions, and I'm sure you might have seen a lot of interactions and posts coming in the the feedbacks coming on the chat box on our LinkedIn and Facebook YouTube pages. You can go through it, and if there are any questions, please respond to them later on also. Now last question, which comes to or in fact I can say second last question which comes to my mind is, what are your thoughts on Mentor My Board? Any piece of advice for us? We are also a startup. We have been working in the governance tech domain, where we are creating a complete ecosystem for boardrooms to, kind of a marketplace for boardrooms to upgrade, upskill, learn, unlearn, at the same time be that, in that ecosystem or a community of thought leaders. So that's something what we have been working on. So any thoughts on our, Mentor My Board? What has been your experience, your journey, looking us, as a startup? So any thoughts for us? Any guidance notes for us?
So you see, initiatives like Mentor My Board are extremely valuable in terms of support for emerging leaders, for a simple reason that leaders don't really have the time, or because they are so much pressed on managing day-to-day firefighting operations, whatever it is, right? So Mentor My Board platforms can provide that valuable support, because the only thing constant in life, which I believe, is learning, right?
Certainly.
So, so my advice would be to leverage mentorship, stay open to continuous learning, and embrace a global perspective, right? Because
Right.
the world is getting smaller day by day.
Yeah.
So in this, in this ever evolving business landscape, mentorship plays a very crucial role in navigating challenges and gaining insights and fostering that professional growth, right? Which
Right.
can come from experience. You don't have to repeat the same mistakes, and you can fast track through a proper mentorship. Because
Absolutely.
so leadership is a journey of constant growth and adaptation, right? So just as just as I come back to military and saying, just in the military, personnel undergo continuous training, right?
Mm.
Whether there is war, no war, training is an ongoing thing. But in how many organizations does this thing happen on an ongoing basis? So I advocate for ongoing leadership development within organizations. And this involves not only honing your existing skills, but also actively seeking out new knowledge and insights, because the world is getting disrupted and changed every minute, and at a very fast pace. Professions of today, 80% of the professions of tomorrow are not known. So we
True.
got to keep abreast and stay abreast and keep tuned to what's happening. And I think if you by fostering a commitment to leadership growth at all levels, organizations can build a resilient and a full future ready leadership cadre.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for these insights and guidance note. And I'll tell you, uh, through a Mentor My Board platform, I mean, we're talking of mentoring the boards. And we have one-on-one mentoring sessions, group mentoring sessions, which can be scheduled. And this is a platform for mentors also to come and connect with people who really need the help. So I think, that's what we've been doing. And I think, your insights will help us to move on that space a little faster. Now, there is a question, the last question which has come, there is that in terms of corporate governance undergoing a change in the mindset of traditional family boards, what is your take moving forward in 2024 and beyond?
So you see, my entire work revolves around this because so the change in mindset actually, so and what is triggering this today also is that the new generation which is coming in. So the children of today who belong to these family businesses have had the privilege of studying abroad, getting a very high corporate exposure. Their whole tune. I have this debate with professors of strategies of some of the biggest institutes, and they end up agreeing that all their curriculum is tuned around corporates and not around family businesses, because when this next generation comes into business
Right.
after studying this, they get a culture shock. They never thought that all that empire of business which their parents have created is managed like this, because you have a trusted set of people. You want to come in as a new, you want to come and put your ideas, they are not accepted. It creates friction. And I think the problem in family business is major, because by global standards, 70% of the family businesses do not survive into second generation, 90% do not survive into third
Third
generation.
generation.
And this problem is becoming even more severe, because now you have the option of the young generation taking their kitty and starting their own startup if they are not able to do much into this. So I have been playing a very strong role in ensuring that this change of mindset starts from the top, right? Because it is not the youngster who has to change, it is the CEO, it is the chairman who has to first change their mindset. There is already a 20-year generation gap between two.
Generation gap.
So yeah, so they both need to understand the value with each one, and which is why I said when I do a diversity in board creation is extremely important, where you have 30% youth, 30% women, and 40% gray haired, and all having equal rights and being able to make that contribution. This is extremely important. Yeah.
Super, super. So, absolutely so thoughtful of you, to highlight this last point about the generation gap in the family boards. And I think that's, very, very important. I mean, I personally experienced a lot of boardrooms where father is, there for 20 years, 25 years, and son comes all of a sudden. And, when he starts looking at execution, delegation, and team member says, no, we'll consult the chairman and come back to you. And the next generation is clueless that, where is the hierarchy, where are the roles and responsibilities. So very, very rightly said that it's, the mindset shift which has happened to from the top leaders, and then it passes on to the next generation. Thank you so much for such an wonderful, I mean, there are few questions still coming in, and I also have a lot of questions, but I think, let's keep interacting with you through the platform of Mentor My Board with deeper kind of topics and understanding and, insights from you. For here, thank you so much for all the viewers for being here with us. And I'm, once again apologizing, Dr. Anuraag, for little glitches at the beginning, but amazing interactions, and we really, really look forward to your guidance, mentorship, your insights, and your support to Mentor My Board. And through Mentor My Board, we also want your knowledge and expertise to spread to all our members, all the corporates in India. So thank you so much for being here with us. Last but not the least, stay tuned for the next week's Boardroom Talk with yet another personality from the boardrooms, whether it is Indian, global, that we will share in a due course. Stay tuned and have a great Sunday with your family and friends. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
last but not the least, thank you, Dr. Anuraag, for accepting our invitation and being here with us.
Thank you, Divya, and I want to thank everybody who made the effort to attend this today. And I will leave on a note that let's cheer up for India's World Cup win today.
Oh, yes. Yes. I think, yes, India is going to win, I'm sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.